Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Divination Lady, and today I want to do a video about how tarot works, or how I believe it works. This is based on my own personal subjective experiences. So if you've had a different experience and you have a different viewpoint about this, please comment below. I'm going to try to make this as non-woo-woo as possible. It's hard to say woo-woo, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't want to get into the spirits and the angels and everything. I'm not saying that that doesn't exist, but I'm just going to try to say it or explain it in more of a logical way so it doesn't turn off some people who are not into the spiritual stuff, okay? Although there's definitely a spiritual component to this, but that's more for later. So I noticed when I started reading tarot, even from the very beginning, that the right cards are coming up, even though I'm shuffling and I'm pulling them randomly. And I didn't understand how. And sometimes I wondered, well, maybe it's just my imagination. Maybe they are really just randomly coming up. But I've since had very specific experiences that has proven to me, I can't really prove it to you, but it's proven to me that they're not coming up randomly, that they are the right cards. The best card for your question is coming up, or for my question that I asked. And I was like, how is this possible? I know it has something to do with synchronicity. That I know for sure. And for those of you who don't know what synchronicity is, it's basically a meaningful coincidence. So chances are you have had lots of synchronicities happen to you in your life. Sometimes you're aware of them, sometimes you're not aware of them. It's good to have a heightened level of awareness to notice the synchronicities, because they kind of are really cool and they'll blow your mind. But anyways, so I was like, okay, so the right cards are coming up. It has something to do with synchronicity. But how is this exactly working? What is working on a deeper level here? You know, I was raised to believe that divination and tarot cards and everything like that, sort of like occult, was very, very evil. I was raised Christian, and so I was kind of always apprehensive about it, but I was always very curious about it as well. And when I got into tarot cards, I remember my first deck, I was worried that, you know, I shouldn't even have it in my house, that it was going to negatively affect my kids, my pets, myself. I was thinking, oh gosh, am I playing with fire here? But really all they are is a deck of cards. They're manufactured, they're cardboard. It's no different than having a book in your house. You know, it's absolutely no difference. They're just a tool. And how it works is that the card reader is acting like the receiver. So think of a radio station when you're tuning into a radio station. So the card reader, when they're asking their question and they're focused properly, they're actually unknowingly tuning into this quantum level of awareness. I call it timeless awareness. For those of you who are into this kind of stuff, you've probably heard of Russell Targ. He is like this really intelligent scientist that, you know, he calls it timeless awareness. So I'm going to stick with that. And so the card reader is tuning in to the right frequency, basically. And in this place of timeless awareness, everything is available for us. Like, all the information that we are asking about is available for us. So we can look into the future. Time isn't linear in this place of timeless awareness. It's not like in a straight line, like past, present, and future. It's all actually happening simultaneously. And you can look into the future. So for any of you who've had weird dreams that came true, like specifically, you know, specific dreams that came true the next day or the next month, and you're like, I know I dreamt that. It's not just deja vu. It's like specific things that you remember. Pardon my budgies, by the way. You know what I'm talking about. You know that you can look into the future. And that's going into a level of timeless awareness. And this is not an actual like radio station, guys. I'm just joking about that. But it's in your subconscious. I believe it's in your subconscious. And we all have that ability. And the cards are a reflection of the energy that we're getting from this place of timeless awareness. So each card is emitting a certain, I guess you could say, energy. Now, I don't think you can measure this with a scientific, instrument. It's not like that simple, but it's like an invisible, each card has an invisible frequency attached to it. That could go for a book in your house. It could go for a rock. It could go with anything. Everything has an energy about it. And the cards will reflect, like the speaker reflects the music, or the TV reflects the movie, like the TV screen. So it's all about reflecting energy. And we already knew that. Card readers already know that the cards are reflecting energy, like they're reflecting the answer that we're asking about if we're focused properly. So when we're actually not focusing properly, when we're distracted or we're thinking about, something completely unrelated to the question, or we're emotionally charged, or there's like kids in the background that are like trying to get our attention, it's going to affect the quality of our reading, and we're going to get static. We're not going to tune into the right place. We're not going to tune into that place of timeless awareness. We're going to tune in to a bad country station or a foreign station where we don't understand anything, or just nothing. We're just going to tune into static. And the cards are going to just reflect gibberish, and we're not going to be able to make any sense of it. So I hope that helps us understand exactly what's happening here. The card reader is I guess you could say, channeler or the receiver. They're the ones who are focusing in on the question and accessing the timeless awareness, and they don't even know they're doing it. It's just happening automatically. Some of them can get downloads while they're asking and shuffling. But I've never really gotten any downloads while I was asking the question and shuffling. I've just shuffled, I've pulled the cards randomly, noticed that the right cards are coming up, and then I read them. Now, the interpretation of the cards is so, so, so important, obviously. And some card readers are intuitive, and they will get extra information because they're going to be getting an intuitive insight into the cards, which is superior to the ones who are memorizing the card meanings. Now, I started off memorizing the Rider-Waite, and I know like all 78 cards, what they represent. I know several keywords for each card, and that is an effective way. It's not a bad way. Actually, we all should memorize the card meanings. But as you start becoming more, like you get more practice with it and you just get better at it, that's when your intuition starts working. And then I've realized that the intricate details in the cards actually have more significance than the Rider-Waite meaning themselves. And especially with this deck, this is my magical deck, I call it. It's Tarot of 1001 Nights. I highly recommend this for the intuitive reader. Do not read this deck like a regular tarot deck. I read it more like Lenormand. I just put 4 cards down, and the cards are so accurate, it's spooky. They will answer your question in a linear fashion, like it's sequential, like a sequential scene in a movie. If you paused the scene and skipped forward a bit, they will answer it like scenes in a movie in a sequential, in a sequential order. So that's for more of the intuitive reader. But you can just stick with the Rider-Waite deck and, still come up with accurate readings based on your memorization. Either way, the right cards are going to come up if you're focusing on the question properly. Now I'm going to show you something that will prove to you that it is not random, guys. This is not random. All right, I'm going to see if I can find it in here. I'm just going to take some tea. Let me see if I can find the cards. I was able to predict some future events, like world events that have happened successfully. With these cards, they are amazing. You can do it with any deck, but these cards are super amazing for some reason. And I'm not getting paid to say this. Like this card here, this has nothing to do with what I was about to find, but this is all about domestic, like it could be about an argument between a couple or just a misunderstanding, something like that. But I will talk about that later. Where, of course, I should have gotten this ready prior. This card represents like actual transport. If you look, he's carrying the lady as a passenger. So this card often comes up for airline related things, or taxi service, or just a journey to the city where there's more than one passenger usually. Okay, here's one. Just need to find the stars card. So what I was doing to learn these cards better was I was doing retroactive readings. So I would ask my friends on Facebook or wherever, I would ask them, think of something you did in the past, a situation, and hold that in your mind, and I'm going to see if my cards will pick up on it. So I didn't know. The person I was asking obviously knew it was in the past. And I wanted to see if I could learn the cards better. So one of the readings I did, I got the stars card and this Ace of Wands. And I've learned not to use the Rider-Waite meanings with this deck. I've learned to completely ignore the Rider-Waite meanings with this deck and read it like Lenormand. And in my experience, this card comes up for outdoor related things like natural events, just being outside. I didn't actually think that it would be talking about actual deer. And this card has come up before in regards to technology related things. It's the stars card, right? So internet or something like that. And I said, do you know what these cards, I asked him. So I get immediate feedback, right? Because I don't have to wait for some future event to unfold. I get immediate feedback. And I said to him, Paul, do you know what the Ace of Wands is talking about? Do you recognize anything about that situation? He's like, well, actually, I took a picture of deer. I said, oh, so maybe that's just a coincidence that the deer card showed up. He showed me the picture that he took on that day. It was a picture of deer. It looked very actually similar. There was 2 deer, not 3, but still, you know, the cards are going to give you the best card that they can possibly give you for the question that you have. Then I was like, I wonder what the stars card is trying to tell me. So I look at it more closely and I notice details that I've never noticed before this. He's drawing the stars. There's pictures that he's already drawn. He's making pictures. He took a picture of deer. Now, is that mind-blowing or what? Like, this deck is magical. But you can get these results with other tarot decks. I'm having the best luck with the Tarot of 1001 Nights. It's based on the Arabian Nights stories. I've also gotten very, very good results with Fountain Tarot, with intuitive reads. Now, you don't use tarot only to predict future events or to spy on people or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. But it's one of the cool things you can do. You can actually like predict the future. You can predict actual world events. I'm not even kidding. You can find missing people, although that takes like a lot of skill, and I'm not very good at it, but you can get a good overview of a situation where a person went missing and why they went missing and what was going around the situation. So I'm just going to go look through these cards, see if I can find, sorry for not preparing. Why are you upside down? I don't like reading reversals. Getting there, guys, getting there. And I will show you the actual example. Of course, it's probably going to be all the way on the bottom. So again, it's really good to have a versatile deck that, oh, here's one of the cards here, that gives you, oh, there's the other one, and there's the other one, okay. It's really good to have a versatile deck that gives you a lot of different intricate details and a lot of different feelings and scenes, because if you have a limited deck, the cards will still try to give you the best answer possible to your question, but you can't get blood out of a stone. So sometimes there isn't a card to depict the scene very good. And even with the most intuitive reader, they're not going to get it. But this one, I asked for my friend 30,000 kilometers away. So again, in this place of timeless awareness, time and distance, especially like spatial distance, it is not even taken into consideration. You can read for someone on Mars, if there was someone on Mars. So I asked, the question was, what unexpected positive thing will happen to her? Her name is Siobhan. Siobhan, if you're watching, hello. Thank you for letting me do this practice on you. The question was, what unexpected positive thing will happen to her in the month ahead? I asked this question in October 2019 for November 2019. And I asked it in that way. I said, what unexpected positive thing, with emphasis on positive, because you don't want to do neutral questions in case the cards give you a very bad answer. That's going to be scary, and it's not very helpful because you're going to worry about it then, or the person is going to worry about it. It's not going to change the outcome. It's highly doubtful that it'll change the outcome. It'll just make it worse. So I asked, what unexpected positive thing will happen to her in the month ahead? So right away, I see the 3 of coins, and that to me says it's a work-related thing. And so sometimes you can use, well, a lot of times you can use the standard Rider-Waite meaning in addition to the details, the non-Rider-Waite meaning. So sometimes it'll be a combination. It works so synchronistically that it's like the right cards are coming up for each reader, like for their own, based on their own ability, if that makes any sense. So right away I see the 3 of coins, and I'm like, okay, it's work related, and I see this. This is a card about money. Obviously, it's about like hoarding money and being possessive and greedy in the negative light. In the positive light, it's about just being protective of your finances. But I was like, I don't think that's what this card is necessarily trying to tell me. All I see in this card is that it's trying to tell me that it's something inside of a tent, okay? Inside of a tent. And I intuitively knew that this card was telling me inside of a tent. And then I looked at the High Priestess and I was like, I said, okay, this is what I'm getting from these cards. And I saw a picture in my mind's eye. Sometimes you'll get that, sometimes not. But if you do, pay attention to it. I said, it's going to be a formal event inside a tent. Now I knew she was a photographer, so I said, it's something to do with you being a photographer at a wedding or something, because I see she's dressed very formally and there's lots of white drapes or drapery. And I'm like, that makes sense if it's inside of a tent or it's an inside event. Like it reminds me of a wedding tent or something like that. I said also, like, I'm getting like a circus type feel for some reason, which was somewhat accurate, and I'll explain later. So almost exactly a month later, she was unexpectedly called in to do a photo shoot for this children's thing. It was like they call it in South Africa, in Afrikaans, they call it a Dromiesfest. And basically what that is an event that celebrates children who are like it's almost like gymnastics and cheerleading, something like that. And it's a formal event, and the parents attend, and everybody wears formal wear, just like at a wedding. Isn't 100% accurate, and I don't think that any tarot readers can be 100% accurate with stuff like this, but you can look into the future. You can predict the future with tarot. A month ahead, I think you can do it. A year ahead, I don't see why you can't do it 20 years ahead. You know, like, tarot is just a tool, so there are other ways to look into the future. Like, I'm sure Nostradamus, I think he looked into a dish of water or something like that. There are other ways to access this place of timeless awareness. So I'm just saying, but for me, tarot is the easiest way. It gives you, it's like playing detective in a way. You're playing Nancy Drew. So as you can see, this deck gave me the absolute best cards it could to answer that question. If it would have been a different deck, I don't think I would have gotten it as easy. So I love the Fountain Tarot for intuitive reads. I can give you other examples, but I will leave this for now. I think, though, taking a picture of the deer. Now, I had never noticed that detail before, right? So it's not like some readers will say it's because of the meanings you associate the cards already or before, but I'd never noticed that detail before. So I didn't associate that meaning of taking a picture to that card until after. Now I know for the future that this card can mean actually taking a picture with a camera or taking a video recording, but it can also mean, again, internet, or it can mean literally looking up at the stars. It depends on the context of the question. So you have to keep an open mind. You cannot, it's a very bad idea to put default meanings to the cards and not be open to new ideas or meanings. So it's actually a good idea to keep an open mind, obviously, every time you look at the card. Now, the thing I'm finding with myself, and this might work differently for other people, but if I get too used to a deck, if I really bond with a deck, like I'm bonding with this deck, I never want to admit this, but there might be a day when I'm going to put this deck away and not use it for several months or maybe a year or two. Because what happens is I will associate default keywords and I won't be open to new interpretations. And what you actually need to stimulate your intuition is random stimulus. So even though it's not random, it's synchronicity at play here. The random stimulus is actually like what you're looking at freshly. That's what I mean. Like, it has to be a fresh thing. So then it's better to, if that starts happening, where you're not getting any more intuitive hits, and because you're associating the default meanings, then it's really good to get a new deck. Again, a deck that has a lot of detail and feeling and just very new, because it's the random stimulus that the cards give you that prompts your intuition. It's like a form of, they use it in corporate world is called conceptual blending. So again, it's not random. So don't take my words the wrong way. It's actually the right cards are coming up, but it is like random stimulus for your brain. So you don't want to get too used to a deck. But maybe there's ways around that. I'm still pretty new at this. And I'm going to end this video because the incense, I have this patchouli incense and it's making me dizzy. So I will see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed, and please leave me comments of your own experiences, your own thoughts about this, and I'll be happy to hear them. And so will everybody else. So thank you.